What if I told you state Supreme Court just handed down a ruling that could protect millions of Americans from being fired for defending themselves on the job? Because that's exactly what just happened. And if you've ever worked at retail, behind a cash register, at a gas station, a convenience store, a hotel, or pretty much anywhere the public can just walk through the door, this case could have enormous implications for your right to survive a violent attack. Now stay with me, because this story started with a cashier trapped behind a counter and ended with a court ruling that could change workplace self-defense laws across the entire country. The legal battle began back in October of 2020 at a Circle K convenience store in Westminster, Colorado. Cashier Mary Ann Moreno was working behind the register when a man armed with 2 hunting knives allegedly demanded free merchandise. Now just picture, if you will, you're trapped behind a counter. An armed individual is standing in front of you. There are knives involved, and you have absolutely nowhere to go. In that moment, Moreno made a decision. Instead of simply complying, she fought back. According to court filings, she physically resisted the attacker and disrupted what she believed was a dangerous assault. Fortunately, she was not seriously injured, but what happened next shocked a lot of people. The attacker didn't end up costing her everything. Her employer did. After reviewing security footage, Circle K determined that Moreno violated the company's don't chase or confront policy, and then they fired her. That's right, they fired her. A woman who believed she was defending herself from an armed threat was terminated by her employer because company policy said she should have not confronted the suspect. And that's when the legal fight began. Moreno filed a wrongful termination lawsuit arguing that Colorado public policy protects a person's right to defend themselves. The case eventually became so significant that a federal judge paused the proceedings and asked the Colorado Supreme Court to answer a very critical question. Can an employer legally fire someone for exercising lawful self-defense? And this week, Colorado's highest court answered, and the answer could send shockwaves throughout corporate America. In a 5-2 decision, the court ruled that self-defense is such a fundamental public policy right that employers cannot simply ignore it. Justice Maria wrote something that immediately caught the attention of Second Amendment supporters and self-defense advocates. She stated that the right of self-defense follows a person everywhere, from home to work and back again. The court essentially rejected the idea that walking into your workplace somehow strips you of your rights that you possess everywhere else. Now, before we go any further into this, it is important to understand what this ruling does not say. The court did not rule that employees can do whatever they want. The court did not say that every confrontation is justified. And the court did not automatically determine that Moreno's actions were lawful self-defense. The question can still be decided by a jury. But what the court said is this: if an employee's actions are ultimately found to be lawful self-defense against an imminent bodily harm, an employer cannot hide behind company policy to punish that employee for protecting their life. And that is a major distinction. You're not defending property. You're not protecting merchandise. You're not stopping a shoplifter from stealing a 6-pack of beer. You are defending your life, and that's where this case becomes incredibly important. For decades, many corporate policies have essentially required employees to choose between physical survival and keeping their job. Countless workers have been told, don't resist, don't confront, don't fight back. Now the Colorado Supreme Court is signaling that there may be limits to how far employers can go when those policies collide with a person's fundamental right to self-preservation. Not everyone agrees. The dissenting justices argued that the ruling could make it harder for businesses to enforce workplace safety policies. Corporate attorneys warned that companies could face increased liability if employees began taking matters into their own hands. And honestly, maybe there could be a little bit of justification there. Nobody wants employees chasing thieves out into the parking lot. Nobody wants unnecessary escalation, but the majority drew a very important line. This case isn't about protecting merchandise. It is about protecting human life, and that is a distinction every responsible gun owner should understand. A cash register, it can be replaced. Inventory, it can be replaced. Property, it can be insured. Your life cannot. If someone is simply stealing products and leaving, that's one thing. If someone traps you behind a counter while armed with deadly weapons, that's something entirely different. The tactical response is completely different. The legal analysis, it changes. And according to this ruling, the employment relationship doesn't erase your right to defend yourself. Now here's the bigger question. Could this become a blueprint for other states? I believe yes. Gun rights advocates and self-defense organizations are already paying very close attention. Because if courts in other states begin recognizing self-defense as a protected public policy exception to at-will employment, we could see similar challenges nationwide, and that could fundamentally reshape the relationship between workplace rules and individual self-defense rights. So I want to know, what do you think? Should employers be allowed to fire workers for defending themselves during violent attacks, or do you believe self-defense is a fundamental right that follows you everywhere you go, even on the job? I want to know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this report, hit the like button, subscribe to the 2A Defense Network, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next major Second Amendment update. And remember, your rights don't stop at the workplace door. And as always, I will see you in the next one.